We're in conversation today with Mr. Gajendra Jangid, the co-founder and CMO of Cars24, a startup which has sort of redefined the way Indians buy and sell their used cars. Gajendra, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
So Gajendra, first questions, what opportunities has the used car space been offering you? And, what are the key driving factors, which are driving the growth in this space that we've seen over the last few years now?
Yeah. So Mike, actually used car business globally is seeing a paradigm shift. And all this shift, of course, there are a lot of macro and microeconomic factors are driving and impacting used car business. But I think one major factor which has driven the paradigm shift into the used car economy all across the world, that is COVID, right? Pre-COVID, we all used to think a lot about shared mobility, right? Worldwide, you're moving to shared mobility. Everybody people doesn't want to own their own car. They want to ride cab hailing companies or any means of shared mode of transportation. But fundamentally, consumer behavior changed, rapidly changed, and this one black swan event has really changed the mindset of a consumer, where everybody now wants to travel. They want the flexibility to travel. They want the safety of travel, right? And there's another influencing factor, that what has changed, that now consumers want to own their own car. They want to feel safe. They want to drive, they want them to feel safe, or they want their family to be safe, right? When they are going from anywhere to point A to point B. So that sudden shift of consumer mindset has impacted positively to used car a lot. And another change that has happened fundamentally is, which is, I would say, more to do with India than I would say anywhere else, is that now owning a car earlier, and up to an extent it still is, but it was always aspirational driven choice, right? I want to upgrade my life. I want to upgrade my status. It was all led to a psychological effect of being, moving ahead in the life. But entire this, last 2 years, a lot of folks have now looking at the car more as a need than aspiration. For them, it's not of course, when you buy it, you still feel good about it. It's still, kind of moving up in or upgrading yourself. But the trigger to purchase is not to upgrade your status in the society, not to upgrade your life, but trigger to purchase is more about ensuring that I have got a, car that will safely, take me from anywhere I want to go for me and my family, right? So it's just a deeper consumer thinking behind this used car business overall that has changed globally, that has positively impacted the growth. And that's why you are seeing so much of action happening in the used car category, especially in last few years.
You mentioned about this, the overall growth that we've seen in the used car market, especially in the personal mobility space. So,
Yeah.
as the CMO, how have the needs of, the used car buyers changed over time, And, as the CMO, are you also, since you're in charge of defining the overall customer experience, so what are the innovative steps that, the company has been taking?
There are a lot of steps, Mayank, what we have taken, not only in India, but globally as we operate. Currently we are operating our business in 5 countries, right? We are in India, UAE, Australia, Thailand, and Saudi. So now in the countries where we operate, and I'll just double click on India's example, right? Where what we are trying to do is, we want to reimagine the experience of buying cars. And when I say buying cars, means it should be buying a used car experience should be as pleasant, as joyful as when you're buying a, let's say, new car, right? Just to call it out hypothetically, how you feel about buying a new car. The used car should not come with a lot of anxiety and a lot of doubts in your mind. What will happen to the car once I buy it, right? So we realize that that's one fear factor a consumer have when they're buying a car. And once that fear factor is gone, because used car fundamentally is always value for money, right? You're buying a depreciated asset, right? So you end up losing a lot lesser money, and that overall asset becomes give you much better return as compared to, you're buying a new car. But only fear factor what you have, what if, right? What if something goes wrong? Then then I will not get, I'll end up spending a lot more money than I would want to. So anyway, so when we realize this is the fear factor about the quality of car and the post sale, how that is going to get impacted for the consumers. So we face this problem head on, that this is what we need to solve for, right? So how do you solve quality of the car? Now, there are two ways to solve the quality of the car. One is you filter out those cars that has not been broken to the condition which they are, beyond repair, and where that their probability of, asking or needing repair would be very high, anyone who's driving it. So first we do a very stringent filtration of the cars that we know can be run on the road by, minor repair refurbishment, and able to really go, long on the road. Then once we select those car goes through a very stringent refurbishment process, that the car has really been fixed as much in those condition as when it, that was produced. Means entire wheel balancing is done in a proper machine, entire repainting, because many times scratches and dents you have to repaint it, right? And those repainting has done in a completely factory conditions. As you have to check the brakes and suspensions, those are being tested. Not that I'm just driving on the road and I go and check my shock absorber just by feel of it. Acha, because I went to the speed breaker, nothing happened. No, there's a machine on which you can really test the efficiency of your suspension, right? So we devised all of it, right? We call it Mega Refurbishment Lab, called MRL. And these are huge. They are huge facilities where each and every car what we procure goes through over there, get all refurbished, get all quality checked to make sure everything is perfect on that car, and then we list it out on the website. But customers still feel fearful, right? Customers still feel that what if, because you can do whatever you want and claim that I have done best, but what if something happens? How do I really allay the fears of consumers when they're buying a car? So we came out with policy where customer can really return the car within 7 days. I'm not like, you can of course test drive before making a purchase, but even after you made a purchase and within 7 days you feel, yeah, maza nahi aaya gaadi mein, right? I'm not feeling good about the car for whatever reason. There's a flexibility for you to return the car. Can you imagine this happening in a new car? They will never do it, right? But we are allowing consumers to really return the car if they feel that they don't want to keep the car for whatever reason. Of course, we want to make sure that car has not been driven more than 1,000 kilometers, or certain cap of kilometer range is there, and the car should be returned in the same condition, at the time of delivery. But it's all these broader conditions satisfied, and we are happy to take the car back. So that gives consumer confidence that this brand is really so confident that they don't even shy away of getting a return of the car even after I purchase the car, right? And of course, we top it up with the one thing again, which is a at least 6 months to a year warranty, right? So that especially when the car will run for 500,000, 2,000, 3,000 kilometers, you'll be able to figure out everything in the car what it is. So all of, I think these two factors are completely hitting on the nail, where customer has that fear factor of buying a car on what if, and then 7-day return with combined with the warranty, which has again never been done in India before, makes consumer feel more confident. Yeah, this is what I want to do. They have made buying a used car as peaceful and as transparent as possible. And what is happening right now in India is, in a way, consumers are looking at to buy now used car as much as they're buying a new car. Especially now, there's so much of delivery time in the new car. You can buy a car and take the delivery right away. And another innovation I think I didn't speak about is that you can take a home delivery of car, right? You can book a car, book a home test drive. Car will come to at your doorstep. You don't need to go anywhere else. You take a test drive. If you like the car, payments, everything is online, and the car get delivered at your doorstep, and all the paperwork is also done at your doorstep. So you can literally do shopping sitting at home of the car.
Right. So, that's how you've been enhancing the overall customer experience in this, in the used car buying space. So, you mentioned about transparency, and that's one of the biggest things that's been lacking in the used car segment in India, especially with the entire, the major chunk of the market being unorganized. So how are you leveraging technology to enhance the overall transparency in this segment?
Yeah. So one way to, what we are trying to do by like our product, where customer can really come and look at the details of the car. We want to make sure that details of the car and the images of the car are presented in a manner where customer is able to consume all of that information, right? So first, you have to make sure there's a right set of information available of the car, right? So you have to have systems and technology at the back end to ensure that you got the right details of the car. Now, product image, like how your car look and feel, and able to zoom out on each and every corner of the car by in an online manner. I think I would, like, if you go and check out our website on the app, you'll be able to see the 360 spin of interior and exterior. You'll be able to zoom out on every single detail of the car, inside or outside, and you don't be able to, even when you go and see the car physically, you won't be able to see in such a detail.
Right.
So that's number one. Number two is the details of the car, right? So what are the important details of the car, what you should know before making a decision to really even thinking of buying that car? All that information must be presented in a very cleaner way. Another piece of information what is important for the customer is understanding when was the last service done on the car, when that car was serviced, and identifying the service history of the car. So every car that we put forward on our website to sell to the consumer, customer has a right to know the history of the car and what kind of repairs work has been done on the car, and that the details is also being provided to the customer as well, right? So all of those information, when they are available in a systematic manner and in a structured format, in a way where you want consumer to know not only, and by the way, another thing is that any imperfections of the car, means anything which we want to call it out, whether it's a small dent, minor dent, or let's say there is some part of the car which is is not repaired for this reason that it doesn't impact the performance of the car, but it's not repaired for whatever reason, let's say, right? It's being called out, right? So when all those details are called out, then it becomes apparent that, okay, customer automatically feel confident.
So how much investment has gone into this MRL, and what's the growth and expansion plan once you've invested in such a big setup? So, what are the plans to, recover all the investment that's gone in?
See, Mike, what we have done with the MRL is something which we have invested for the long term, right? Each MRL currently can refurbish car, at least 2,000 to 3,000 cars per month. They can refurbish. They have potential to refurbish. Now, at current level, I think our utilization is growing as we speak. Now, of course, each of these MRL, I would say when we started off, of course, we had a capex in mind, how much of capex we want to invest into it, and what is the number of years it will give us return. But that will all keep on evolving based on the growth what we get. But overall, from the investment point of view, I have to just call out, it's roughly close to 40 to 50 crore what we invested in the 7 MRL what we established spread across pan India. Our MRLs are right now stationed in NCR, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Chennai. The other 7 big cities what we have installed, or where we have really gone ahead, and because the decision to build MRL over there was primarily due to fact that how much of scale and used car business is coming from that particular city or surrounding those cities. Currently, I think we have employed more than 1,000 people in those MRLs who are really working in that facility over there. And of course, all of these MRLs are outside city; they are not in vicinity the city, because they are all into industrial area of on the nearby cities. Right. I think the kind of infrastructure what we have, it is really going to has brought us over to where we are today in a global map, to be honest. And now whatever the planning and execution what we have done in India of the MRL, we are using the same playbook to really do the same thing in UAE, Australia, and Thailand as well.
And what about the utilization level? So what sort of capacity utilization level are you at right now at these 7 MRLs? And going forward, how do you see it going up?
So our first endeavor was to get all the car refurbished from our MRL, because we were earlier working from our partner workshops to be able to refurbish car. So we have already completed that journey. Now all 100% of our cars are getting refurbished at our MRL. From utilization point of view, we are still I would say have not reached to the full potential of the MRL. Okay, because like I said, when we established MRL, when we established the space, we were looking for next 5 years.
Okay.
Now all the additional MRL will come in the newer cities and not in the existing city where they're already at. And the utilization is still growing. They are not, to be honest, they're not even utilized right now 30-40% of the capacity, right? Because it's still there's a journey to it. And we have got an empty space. We have got a space which we have not been leveraged yet, but we will plan to leverage it in the future. But we don't want to keep on reinventing the wheel every time when we scale and then we do something different.
Right. But with this kind of utilization right now, so still do you feel that there's need for more such centers in the future?
In the cities where we are, it's not present yet. Right now we are, so in 2022, we are not opening any more new MRLs. So these 7 MRL which got opened up late last year and early this year, I think 2022, idea is to ensure that these MRLs produce to their, they are fully functional. We understand the playbook of it. We get operational efficiency. There are not a lot of nuts and bolts over there. What we need to really realize, because this is a business which we have never done in the past, and it's a very complicated business. And while talking about spare parts, so difficult. So we have got in-house spare parts storage facility over there. We are trying to. That's one of the challenge we are trying to solve, is availability and supply of spare parts as well at MRL. So there are a lot of questions ahead of us, but we are at least now learning more and more as we move along.
Sure. On that note, thank you so much, Gajendra, for talking to us.
Thank you.
And it was a lovely conversation. Got a lot of insights into your business. Thank you so much and all the best.